shit!
Oh.
Shit! Okay guys, this is a picture of my dog Raider. She was with me for right at 15 years. She was also a big chunk of the noise you'd hear, the little click, click, click that was going on in the background in all my videos. But the other day, Thursday morning, she had to make that one-way trip to the vet, and I miss her a lot, but she had gotten to where she was in so much pain that I'm at peace that I made the right decision. But anyway, we'll miss you, Raider. All right, guys, now you can see the last modification I was doing that I thought would make it awesomer. I still do. I like the stickers. The OU or the U812. It's kind of a bit of a homage to the Van Halen the classic Van Halen album, which was OU812. But in my heart, I always thought it should have been, oh, I see you 812. But they didn't ask me. Anyway, let's see how the dang thing does in the water now. All right, John's always the guy with all the coolest toys, but he found a deal on this snap-on version of the M41 Traxxas boat. We're gonna see how it, I think this is maiden voyage for you, isn't it? Second time out. But anyway, it's pretty cool looking, as all the snap-on version specials are. And if anybody from Traxxas sees that, when am I gonna get the antique sprint car where I can buy it without paying through the nose? And maybe get a different color besides black.
Not self-riding.
Oh no. Shit. That didn't take long. So we got a stick.
Wah, wah, wah.
Selfie stick, maybe.
I don't have to go get it, but I will.
Yeah, well, I was watching Farvas. That thing is just quick to turn. Turn there.
Go rescue the big boat.
Oh.
Shit. Yeah. Well, we ended up with 2 boats upside down. One of them is way down there. Oh shit, it's pretty full of water and won't steer.
What's that?
It's done.
Yeah, we're out here. Yeah, John King's swimming right now. He had to go get his boat.
Okay guys, after the flip, this is how much motor speed we've got. Looks like that ESC got wet and it did not like it. The receiver and the servo and all that seem to be working pretty good. Took the back end off the motor and it's completely dry inside the motor, so it is an ESC issue. We'll dry it out and try it again. From the brief time I did get it out there, it's, yes, faster, but it's not double the speed or anything. It's probably time and a half. It will be more fun, but we're gonna have to figure out a way to maybe do a little waterproofing on that ESC. Probably do a brief video on that. We'll probably pop it out, take the housing apart and use some dielectric grease, and then maybe wrap it in some tape or something to waterproof that ESC. Anyway, that's where we're at. So we're gonna see if we can get some pictures of John's big boats running around, because we're still out here, we're still having fun. We're just gonna try to document it a bit.
No. And I'll try it. It's like $100, $150 more. Oh yeah. Different? Yeah, it comes up a lot higher. I lost my boat.
Oh, shit.
Behind the trees. I got more top speed now.
Yeah, it's putting it on that pad a lot more.
Going into the way it might be sketchy. Yeah, I'm gonna come back this way.
Okay guys, by now you have seen my latest boat related tale of woe. After the flip, this is how much motor speed we've got. Got the thing home and started trying to dry it out. First thing I did was I pulled out the receiver, and I've lost track of which one it was. It was one of these two. I think it's the one without the sticker on the bottom. I bound a different receiver to it and it acted exactly the same way, which told me it probably wasn't the receiver. I also opened up the bottom of this one. It's got some tiny little Phillips screws right here. I took it apart and it had dust inside it. This receiver did not take on any water. Then I pulled out the ESC and the ESC was full of water. Now right there on the side of it, it said waterproof ESC. See if you can see that. Waterproof ESC, 35 amp ESC. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, it ain't waterproof because there was water inside the case, and obviously you saw the video of what it was doing. So it's been sitting now for probably about 30 hours in a bag of rice. And what we need to do now is hook this whole mess back up. Okay. Let's see what happens. All right, the rice trick worked. Now I'm gonna get some silicone and we'll put some effort into sealing up this case when we snap it back together. And then we'll take it back out to the lake. One thing I did do is I put this, the wire that turns the rudder is very high on this servo, and I do believe this servo is a whole lot stronger than the one that came out of it. So we're going to move this down where it doesn't turn as sharp. Maybe that'll keep it from flipping, and it should also make the rudder turn a little slower, which also should make it a little more stable. And then we'll take it back to the lake and give it another shot, see if our water jacket treatment worked. I really didn't get a chance to check much of anything, but my original thought, just from watching the boat, was that it was maybe time and a half as fast. But after watching the video, I do believe it's twice as fast as it was stock. Think if I can just keep it right side up, this thing is going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's where we're at. I'll have to get some silicone, and I'll be back to you with how we're going to go about waterproofing this ESC. But don't believe the sticker that's on the ESC, because it's not true. But I'm tickled that I'm not going to have to deal with getting another one in or messing with all that. I'm just going to have to seal this one up, put it back in the water, and give it one more try. And hopefully third time is the charm, because that'll be our third time in the lake, and hopefully that'll be the time that it performs well, runs great, and is a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun anyway. This thing, it's thrown some challenges at me, but it's been a lot of fun to work on. All right, guys, we're back. I have some black silicone, and we're gonna make this ESC waterproof like it should have been in the first place. So we'll start by disconnecting everything. There's the outline. I'm about sick and tired of pulling this thing in and out. I sure hope that this is the end of it. So we'll unplug all of this mess. And because, on my controller here, this is model number 2. So I'm going to just draw a big 2 on the bottom of this receiver. And that way I'll know for sure which receiver goes back in the boat after we fix it. While I'm thinking about it, before we get too carried away with, I have a feeling I may develop some one-track brain working on that ESC. Let's fix this servo issue. If can see that double 90-degree bend there. That's what actually holds it in place. It connects in between those two 90-degree bends, which keeps it centered up, so it's not any kind of tight fit on the servo horn that does it. So what we need to do is I'm going to open up that hole a little bit and make it hopefully easier to install and remove. Alright, if we get that thing set up to remove real easy, then we'll probably never have to remove it again, because that's just the kind of luck I have. There we go. Just twisted it by hand. Now we got a 1/16 hole, which is quite a bit larger, and that ought to make it really easy to get it back on the wire. Oh yeah, night and day. Night and day. But see, that still can't go anywhere. That's locked on good. That'll be a little shorter throw, so that ought to be a major improvement. And while we're sitting here looking at the boat as a whole, let's go ahead and get the rest of that mounting tape that I used to hang the receiver in place. All right. We'll recapture the servo here. All right, that's got this part of the boat prepared to go. This part of the boat is ready to go back together. So I'm gonna just kind of get it out of our way to give us some room to work here. Let's pull this over here. I've got quite a mess on my table. We'll clean that up a little later. Right now, we got an ESC to fix. Just get it. And it's from there. There we go. Now it's super tiny hole. It's perfect. We're going to this. All right. Now I'll pull this down together. It's kind of funny right now. I don't know what you guys can hear over the camera, but what I hear right now is our mocha dog in the living room chowing down on a rawhide, and I can also hear my wife recording one of her YouTube videos. Oh, look at there. It pulled apart, but it doesn't snap back together, so we're gonna need to glue it shut before we silicone it. So slide up a bit. Take some over there, a little more right here. Okay. That's staying put pretty well. We'll give that glue just a little time to set up. Now the places where the ESC is penetrated and has a capacity to let water in is around all these wires and along the verge of where this aluminum piece. We may not be able to do any good because, well, I need to look at something. I'm glad to see if our glue has set up too much for me to do it now. It has. It's good glue. But we need to see if there's a place for water to get in around the edge of the fin, down between the fins there. See if that'll fit in. No, it's going to have to be smaller than that. Try the antenna on a receiver. It fits down in there. And it does. I don't know if you can see that, but the opening between those fins goes straight down into the housing. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to plug those up. I'm not really sure I want to do, I don't much think I can shove silicone down in there. So we'll seal up the wires and along this edge and this edge, and then I'm gonna have to figure out some kind of little putty or something I can shove down in there to waterproof that. This gets more complicated and I get less impressed with Ghoul RC as we go. Okay. Very carefully smooth that down really before. Pretty good. I'm gonna top it loose and go pretty good. That's the voyage. Alright. Yeah, got that. We'll fill it right up. Now let's try and make them honest, and let's waterproof it right above where it says waterproof ESC. Okay. That's my problem with when I use silicone. It's like a curse. If there's wet silicone within 50 feet of me, I'm wearing a bunch of it. Let's start out with passing down the groove, just like that. And with that groove. Corners. Smooth that a little bit, make sure we get all out there. There is a thing here that says it's 3S LiPo compatible. We might have to see if we can find a 3S battery that'll fit in the little boat. That might be the answer to our speed question. Okay. Guys, if there's somebody in your life, I was going to say special lady, but it could be anybody that's into crafting. My wife does a YouTube channel that's way more successful than mine concerning diamond painting and cross stitch and some junk journaling, all kinds of craft type things, which is probably, crafts is probably her favorite thing in the whole wide world, except for maybe me and her kids. But you know, if there's somebody in your life that's into that sort of thing, turn them on to Amy's Sparkly Diamond Painting. I'll put a link in the description for you. All right. I may have an idea for filling those little holes there, but give me a minute to clean up my hands. And I would really like to clean out this little tip on the silicone so that I can use it again sometime without shooting out a huge frickin' bead of this stuff. So give me just a minute to clean that up and I'll be right back. Okay, what I came up with to plug these little holes is I'm cutting off the tiniest little pieces I can of this foam that I use for bumpers, and we're going to try to jam it down in that groove, something like that. Probably take a razor blade and push it down in there, and slide it as far that way as I can, and that seems to be working. I think that's actually going to waterproof it. Now I just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more to go. Now we got one more product that we need. Okay, last up, dielectric grease. All right, now that I've smeared dielectric grease everywhere, we're just going to kind of make sure that those little pieces of foam I shoved in there, any little gaps around the outside ought to be filled up with this grease now. This is an old tune-up trick where wires came out of the distributor. You'd smear some of this on it and it'll keep water out of your distributor. So hopefully if it'll keep water out of your distributor on an old car, it'll keep water out of your ESC on a new RC boat. And yeah, with those bits of foam and the grease all down in there, I probably have lost some cooling capacity. But I kind of feel like it's more important to keep the water out than to have possibly lost what little bit of cooling capacity we lost there. And that grease is not going to set up and get hard. It's going to be nasty to the touch as long as it's in the boat. So we're going to try to wipe off some of the excess, but to get it down in there where I needed it, I kind of had to smear it all over the place. All right, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to let it sit for a bit. I'm going to let the glue and the silicone set up. Then I'll probably take the toothpick and pick out some more of that dielectric grease that's excess. We're going to throw a little in these connections to waterproof them. And that ought to help in the long run, but I'm kind of intrigued about seeing if we can come up with a 3S battery that'll fit in this boat now, because that would be pretty awesome. As quick as it was on 2S, I can probably flip it over and lose it in the lake much faster on 3S, so we may have to get one of those batteries. Anyway, that's where we're at. Next time out, we're going to take the boat back to the lake and try it one more time, and maybe then we'll finally get a good successful test run on it. And when that happens, you'll see it on RC Restomod.